You're listening to Don't Take This Personally,
a podcast about the business of creativity.
We are your hosts, wedding photographers, entrepreneurs, and friends, Cami Oliveria
And Gabe Conover. Now let's get into it.
Let's get into it. And don't take it personally, whatever we're about to say.
Yes.
Don't. Do not take this personally.
Hello.
Are you ready?
Are you ready?
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Are they ready?
Are the people ready? Wow, welcome to another episode. Today it's just me and Gabe, no guest.
Aw. I mean, is it that sad though? Like, we're pretty great.
It's just us. How we started, going back to the basics.
Aw.
Ending the year how we started it.
And yes, you heard that right. Ending the year.
I love a full circle moment. I really do. Before we dive into what's happening today, I'm going to read a review.
Yes, please.
And again, don't know if I've read this one or not. I need a better system for figuring this out.
Yeah. But let us know if we're just repeating reviews. We promise we have a good amount of them.
This one is from Tip Jor.
That doesn't sound familiar.
Okay, great. 5 stars.
Of course.
Worth the listen.
Yep.
As a wedding photographer, I totally related to the entire podcast and felt like I was a part of the conversation as I listened. Relatable, fun, entertaining. I will be listening again. Big fan of them both.
Aw. I'm glad it's not just one of us.
Yeah, because it's usually Gabe
No.
when it is.
Okay, y'all, there's Cami acting like I'm better than her, and it's not true. Let's all send her some DMs on Instagram at Cami Oliveria and tell her that she is worth every penny. More pennies than Gabe.
More pennies than Gabe.
Yeah.
Wow.
And on that note, I would like to ask you how you're doing, Cami.
Well done. I'm doing really well.
Yeah, I know.
Gabe knows I'm doing so well. Life's good. And we'll get into it soon.
Yes.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great too.
Oh,
yeah.
good.
I'm gonna go to Zion this weekend.
Oh, you are?
A little family trip.
Oh my God, just for fun?
Of us. Mm-hmm.
Shooting?
No,
Literally
we are
just
getting
for
family
fun.
photos done.
Oh, fun. By who?
By Blake Hogue.
Nice. Oh, those are going to be sick.
They are.
Blake Hogue, friend of the pod.
Oh, yeah. I bought flares for all of us,
Oh.
including all of the little children.
All the littles are going to have
Vintage
little flares.
flares. How did I find them? I honestly have no idea.
Wow, you should start
I
a
bought
business.
Michelle this incredible outfit. That is definitely not her, but she's allowing me to style this whole thing. So.
Oh my God, cool.
I have these matching vests for Eli and I. His is like leather and has wool in it, and mine's like denim and has wool in it.
Oh my God.
I have this like picture in my mind of the two of us like just wearing the vests.
Oh, these are going to be awesome.
I'm so excited.
Oh my God, I can't wait to see.
Yes, it's going to be so fun.
I cannot wait to see these.
I can't either. I don't even know what they look like yet because we haven't even done them.
Fun. Dream fam.
That's us. Little blondies.
Well.
Anyway.
Today, I'm fucking pumped.
You're
in my domain.
Yeah, this is Cami's domain. This is like her lifeblood.
So it is the most wonderful time of the year. And not because of Christmas.
No.
I could take or leave Christmas. I'm a bit of a Grinch when it comes to Christmas. However, I fucking love New Year's.
Aww.
And if you know me, it makes sense. I love reflecting. I love a goal setting sesh. Like my dream date around New Year's is we're going to sit down over a drink and we're going to talk about our last year.
And we've done this on New Year's with you before.
You have.
Yes.
You've literally
it was
spent
very
New
fun.
Year's Eve doing this with me.
Yeah.
And I just want to talk about the year ahead and like reflect. And this is kind of like this is my shit right here. And so this is our last episode of 2021. Not ever, just of 2021.
Just of 2021. Don't worry.
We're going to take a few weeks off for the holidays, but we wanted to end the year with this kind of conversation, and it's my jam.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna lead us in a reflective conversation. There's a lot to cover.
Uh-huh.
We both have had pretty insane years.
Totally.
we're coming to the end and I'm feeling all emotional about it. So we want to encourage you to pull out a journal. If you don't have a journal, any piece of paper will do.
Or your notes app.
And just follow along. Maybe answer these questions for yourself along with us, and you'll be a part of my dream conversation.
And if you are in the car, just make sure that you do this later.
Or voice memo yourself or something.
Yeah, voice memo.
Okay, so we're just gonna get right in. Let's start off with the last year's highlights.
Okay.
Gabriel, what were your 2021 highlights?
Well, of course, starting this podcast.
Totally.
Duh. Okay, 2021 highlights. And this is like about everything, right? Are we just talking business? Like
everything.
I remember when we did this with you, you had like, okay, you make your categories like personal.
Okay, well,
business.
yeah, you're really exposing my nerd.
No, okay, sorry.
But yeah, go all of the above.
As far as business goes, highlights definitely would be expanding myself outside of wedding photography.
Cool.
Because that's been my life for the last 4 years, which is awesome. It's been an awesome like career and stuff like that. But I definitely am ready to really branch out and do a lot more than just that. And so obviously we've done the podcast. I've done the studio, which has been the biggest learning experience ever.
Yeah.
And is good now.
You opened a studio this year.
That's crazy.
At the end of 2020, right?
We opened in January.
Yeah. I remember coming to see it in December.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So all that, and then, yeah, like towards the end of this year, as far as business goes, like I've really started to figure out like what my next direction is. And I think we'll probably get into that a little bit later in this episode. And then, yeah, personally, let's see, relationally, this has been like a very honest year for me, a very, self-reflective year for me, and
Whoa.
I'm very much like an internal processor, so when I have thoughts or feelings and stuff like that, I like keep them inside until I feel like I have a firm opinion on them. And my wife has really challenged me in that because she's very much an external processor, and so everything that she thinks comes out of her mouth, even if it's something that she doesn't even necessarily believe quite yet.
I'm that way.
Yeah, she says it and it helps her process it.
Yep.
Which I've learned so much about just being married to her.
Yeah.
And she's learned so much about me and my style of thinking by being married to me. And so, yeah, this year has just been a very honest year. Like we've both just been very honest with each other, and it's helped us grow a lot as a couple and grow a lot in all of our relationships. And so I'm very, very proud of that as I look back.
Cool.
Even though honesty is hard, it can be really hard.
An
so that's
honest
really,
year for Gabe. I fucking love that.
Yeah. I mean, I think that like towards the end of it, like it helps you get more relaxed, but it's just like, yeah, it's just been a really cool self-reflective year for all of us there. And then let's see, with the kids, let's see, you know what? I feel like I know that I think in my, like deep down in my notes app, I have this from last year because Michelle loves doing this too. since Cammie.
Yes, you're welcome.
But we actually set a goal specifically for this year, 2021, to be very like hospitable. Hospitality was like one of our
like
keywords.
Hosting stuff?
Yeah, hosting and like generously hosting. And so
I love that.
You know, we're blessed and my business has blessed us. And so we want to be able, like, we have this awesome house that can fit a lot of people. And so like, we want to be able to be a place where people can like be in community with each other. And, yeah, we also really like hosting. So it's been really cool, like this last year, to see like our home come together that we bought last June. And then now like we can really like, I guess, bless people through it, which is really cool. Yeah.
I get that even from just having like my dream apartment right now, that like I was so excited to have my first little apartment party and just like show it off. And I don't even own this place.
Yeah.
You know, like I can't imagine the pride. It feels like me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can't imagine the pride you feel, like bringing people into your home that is yours, that you bought with your money, that your business provides you, and like that you can provide for your family. You know, that's fucking dope. And I totally understand why like hosting would be such a joy in your life right now.
Oh, it is such a joy.
Because it's such a reflection of so many things.
It is.
It really is.
It truly is. And it's like to have a place where we can so conveniently like be with people has made it a lot more accessible for us, especially because we have 3 kids, right? Like they need to go to bed at a reasonable hour.
Yeah.
So it's cool that like they can go upstairs, go to bed, and we can still.
Yeah, and your kids are cool like that. Like how many times have I been at your place until like the wee hours of the morning, and I like don't see them the whole time. No, I was gonna say I don't see them the whole time. They
I know.
Just like do their own thing.
Yeah, well, I'm saying like we're screaming and yelling.
I thought you meant your children. I'm like, no way.
No,
like,
they don't do that.
We're
for the most part.
I'm always like, do we have to be quiet?
No,
you're like, no, they're fine. I always love that. Like I love that idea of like the families that I see like operating so well. It's like the parents that are like, these kids are going to fit into my life, not the other way around. And I feel like you guys do that so well.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
We definitely made a point to do that.
That's so cool. If I ever do that, I'm taking notes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ask Michelle. She's the brains behind the whole like, honestly, the kid thing. She's great with that stuff. So.
Wow. What a year you've had.
Yeah.
You
definitely.
grew so much this year.
I did.
You really did.
I really did. It was I'm very proud of this year.
Dude, hell yeah. I feel like I've just like seen you like blossom in so many ways this year. It's so cool. And I mean, in such a real way because we spend so much time together this year.
For real.
More than any other year. Yeah.
Yeah.
We had like a front row seat.
Seriously. Because we see each other every week, you know? Yeah. Aw.
Good or bad.
And
we see each other a lot.
Another thing, Cammie and I'm proud of our relationship over this last year too.
Oh my God. Go on.
We got really close this year.
We really did.
We did. And it's awesome.
I always felt so bonded to you.
Yeah.
But in a way that didn't really make sense. Like I feel like, man, I hang out with them like a few times a year, but I swear they feel like my best friends somehow,
I know.
You know?
I know.
And this year I feel like I have like the evidence to support that.
Yeah.
I'm like, the connection runs deep with us. Yeah.
Well, if you didn't think that you were gonna get Gabe and Cammie being emotional,
then you don't know what a New Year's party is like with Cammie.
Well, you're all raging and staying up to the wee hours of the night.
Yeah.
Screaming and yelling.
Yeah.
We're bawling. No, just kidding.
That's not inaccurate. But, you know, I also like to party. So I've now learned to separate these into different days.
Yes.
Like maybe, you know, New Year's Eve is the rage. New Year's Day is when we do this.
That is lovely. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I've learned that it doesn't have to be both on the same day.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Okay, what about you?
Okay. Wow. Year highlights. So professionally, I did shoot some of the weddings of my career this year.
For sure.
That I feel so fulfilled and excited by. Like I did things that made me so deeply uncomfortable shooting this year and crushed it. Like I remember one wedding in particular back in the spring, like a way to kick off my year. I shot like portraits midday at Sunset Cliffs, which normally would put me into a panic attack. And I just did them and they're so cool.
Yeah.
Like they're a vibe. And I just did them and they turned out amazing. Previous years would have never attempted that. I would have just said we don't do portraits right now, honestly.
Wow.
And I would have just like waited for better light or brought them somewhere else or something. So, you know, like things like that. And then like most recently 2 weeks ago, I shot a wedding like entirely in the dark.
Yeah.
Which again, I normally would not have been okay with, but I did it and crushed it.
Yeah.
Like I shot the entire ceremony like off camera flash.
Wow.
Which for my first time. Oh, I'll show you after
Oh,
this.
Wow.
Some of the work of my career. And and the wedding was in a nightclub. So it was like so vibey and made so much sense. And I'm so proud of it. Like I'm like, wow, Cammie did that. And I was so scared of that before that. And I crushed it.
Wow.
Yeah. So, can you hear that? My washing machine just made a little chime. Sorry if that got picked up.
It was pure release.
I was like, oh, what's that little jingle from the other side? So huge highlight. Wow. You know, I've just like done some things this year work-wise that in previous years I wouldn't have attempted, and I'm really proud of the results. And I feel like I was able to like take my work to the next level this year and justify like the big price increase that I was waiting for and stuff like that. And yeah, I kind of like really broke into that next price bracket as a result, booked some weddings at rates I'd never dreamt of, you know, things like that. So despite the busyness and the burnout, there's so much I'm so proud of. And then, like you said, I'm so proud of this podcast. You know, this has been such a fun and necessary like addition to my life. And I'm really proud of it.
Yeah. And like as much as we do it for, you know, our listeners and stuff like that, it also just really benefits us because
oh my God, yes,
Cami and I come together and we can like bounce ideas off of each other and like we learn from each other. We learn from all the guests that we have on here. It's like such an inspiring I don't know if you can hear the sirens. City life.
I live downtown now.
But yeah, it's just been such an like every week it's like something inspiring is said or like something that we haven't thought about before, and it's just been really cool. So I agree with you there.
Yeah, that's been amazing. So professionally, lots to be stoked on, and personally, holy crap. I was kind of putting off getting to that part of the question. There's like so much to be said here, but like if you follow me or you've like picked up from context clues, like I'm going through a divorce. I separated from my husband a few months ago, and so when I moved into my new place, I moved here alone. And so obviously breaking up with my life partner of 10 years is not a highlight, but so much around it is. Like I moved into my dream apartment, like the place that if you could have shown like teenage Cami a snapshot of what my life looks like right now, I wouldn't have believed it. You know, like it's beyond my wildest dreams, and I'm doing it all on my own for myself. That's a fucking highlight. So that's really cool and something I'm so proud of. And personally, like I feel like I really invested in my friendships in a way that was like really powerful for me. And I just like really came into my own in a lot of ways. The thing I've been like working on in therapy for years that I saw come into fruition this year is I have been learning how to like trust myself and listen to myself and make decisions for me, not because I think they're what others want for me. And that is so hard. Like my anxiety and people pleasing, like my whole life I've just been making decisions based on like what I think others want from me, and like making decisions based on people's perceptions. And for the first time in my life this year, I've been able to make decisions and be like, what would I do if it doesn't affect anyone else? And then I do that. And in previous years, I've never been able to do that. So that's been really powerful for me. So, I mean, this year has been like the craziest year of my life personally, for obvious reasons. So it's hard to be like, they're all highlights, because they're not. It was very painful.
Right.
You guys, this is why like we took August off recording, to be honest, because I was like, what am I doing with my life? And I was in like a deep depression for a little bit, and I just had to go into survival mode. So that's what was going on with me like towards the end of last summer. And now you know. Right.
Well, I mean, it's true though, like, you know, you go through these difficult times, and it's not bad to say that there were highlights that came out of it, because obviously so much good has come from it.
So much. And I can see that it's the right thing, hands down. And you know, it was mutual and amicable, and like it was best for both of us on so many levels, but that does not make it easy. And there were like,
of course not,
so many months where like the brain fog, I was like, am I ever gonna feel normal again?
Brain fog.
Like, I've never really experienced that before. Like, I remember just being like, oh my God, like, this is right, and I'm happy with the decision, and my life feels good, but like, when am I ever going to feel like rested again? Like, you know, I just felt so tired all the time in the brain fog, while also trying to make the busiest few months of my career happen. I would not wish that upon anyone, but it was necessary to like get us to this next phase. But oh my God, that brain fog was real. And I'll remember there was a milestone. There was a week I was starting to feel better. It was maybe like 3 weeks ago or a month ago. And you came in and you were like, your eyes look better today. And I was like, oh my God, today's the first day I feel better. Aww. Like, how could you tell? You know, like I'm starting to feel rested again. And so anyways, oh my God, crazy fall in particular. But highlight, I'm kind of living my dream life on a lot of levels, and it's right and it's good. But oh my God, that doesn't make it easy. No. You know?
No. And even if it is like stuff that you always dreamt of doing, it's still new, you know? So it also my God, is just, that's a weird feeling.
I like haven't had a day of adult life on my own. Ever. I mean, you can relate because you neither. Can. Yeah. But like
super interesting.
My husband and I got together when I was 19.
Yeah.
And the day I graduated college, we moved in together. Yeah. We were engaged shortly after. Like, I never had to do any adulting on my own. And there's like a lot of pride that comes with like, look at this place. This is mine.
Yeah.
Like, I did this. Cami did this.
Yeah.
I can figure out how to pay my bills and I can make my own food for myself. Like I can do all these things and also run my business.
Yes.
So much personally there, you know, it was a personally very traumatic year on a lot of levels, but that doesn't mean it wasn't amazing.
Right.
So, and that doesn't mean it wasn't hard because it was also amazing. So holy shit, there's no simple way to answer that question for me.
But it's good. That's why we're not putting a time limit on this episode.
I know we're not putting a time limit on this episode. We're just going to have us talk.
Sorry in advance if it's more than 30 minutes.
Yeah. And something that's so cool about this last year. So 2021 was my last year in my 20s. I turned 30 in a few months. And I can see that, like, people always say, like, your 30s are going to be the best. And I didn't really know what that meant. But, like, I can see myself and feel myself like coming into my own, like in this last year in particular, like, and maybe this is what led to my separation. I don't know. But like when you get out of your 20s, like my 20s were my fucking people pleasing years. And like, as you get older, you start to be more aware of who you are and it becomes harder to ignore. Yeah. So like it became harder for me to, you know, maybe be what I thought someone else wanted me to be or something. And that makes me really excited.
Yeah, harder to fake it.
Yeah, and not on purpose. None of that was on purpose. It's subtle.
No.
Like,
yeah,
I'll be whoever you need me to be, you know? And then that gets harder. Yeah. And so I'm like, man, I'm fucking pumped for like the years to come because I can see myself coming into myself and I like it. So many highlights and a lot of fucking trauma from the last year. I'll say it. Okay, I also had the question, was there anything like unexpected for you out of this year that was positive? Like any surprises, I
mean, again, this was unexpected.
Yeah, okay.
You literally like showed up at my studio and you were like, okay, so I think we should do a podcast together. And I was like, oh, I guess
and
you're
thank
right.
you to the ex-hus. That was his idea.
Yeah. And then a week later we started, you know, like it just happened.
So thankful for you about that. You don't wait on anything.
That's true. So that actually makes this question kind of funny because if I ever do have a thought, like it does, like something I want to do, it does end up happening. So like,
yes.
When you say unexpected, it's like, okay, yeah, it's unexpected for a minute.
Yeah.
But I did know that we were going to be able to carry this through at least till this end of the year, you know?
Yeah.
So I was pretty excited about that. Let's see. Unexpected. I had a lot of very like unexpected connections with like new friends and stuff like that. And like new community that I'm just trying to get more into, especially when it comes like the artistic crowd. Like I like being able to surround myself with creative people. And I actually didn't do that very much before because I've got like a core friend group that I've had for forever. And I'm not like ditching them in any way. I still love them. But like, it's cool to like also feel like I have bits of myself in all of these different areas. So that was kind of unexpected and cool. I don't know. It's such a weird question for me because like, I'm so impulsive that like everything I do is unexpected.
Fascinating.
So it just like, oh yeah, I mean like maybe it was unexpected as in like I didn't know that's exactly what I was going to do. Yeah. But the fact that unexpected things happen to me is never really that shocking.
Yep.
Nothing is surprising to me, I guess.
Interesting. Okay.
To my wife, yes, surprising.
Yeah.
But maybe not anymore. Like I have new business ventures ideas for next year, and I was like telling her a couple weeks ago, I was like, "Hun, I'm gonna do this," and she was like, "Oh, okay. Like for how long have you wanted to do that?" And I was like, I mean, part of me always wanted to. Yeah. But then I like really seriously thought about it yesterday.
Yeah, no, this is what you do, and that's what I'm saying. I appreciate that so much because I will talk myself out of everything I want to do. Yeah. Whereas like with this podcast, you didn't give me a chance.
True.
Because I presented the idea to you, and within 3 days, you're like, okay, come to the studio and we'll make our game plan for launching. And I was like, okay, we're doing this, I guess. So I've always loved that about you, that you just never give me the opportunity to like talk myself out of something if we're going to do something. And so, man, I just can't imagine what it's like to be married to you.
Yeah. Blessing and a curse.
Yeah. But always spicy.
Yeah. Life's always interesting, that's for sure.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So nothing is really ever unexpected or a surprise for you.
No.
Yeah, for me, I would say this whole year, everything was unexpected. Yeah. If you could have told me at the beginning of the year that like this is where I'd be by the end, I would not have believed you. And I would have just crawled into a cave and decided I wasn't coming out, you know?
Yeah, like, that is pretty crazy, actually.
It's pretty crazy to think of everything that's happened. So
yeah,
everything's been unexpected. Wow. So I've just learned, like, you know, hold your plans loosely.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, totally. Is what Michelle always asks me, or like people will ask me, oh, what's your 5-year plan? I'm like, sorry, I can't answer that for you, because I literally refuse to let myself think that far ahead.
I love that.
I can't do it. I physically
well, it doesn't matter if we do, because
that's
just
why
gonna happen how it happens.
That's why, is because I don't want to be upset with what doesn't happen, you know? Yeah. And I'm also impulsive, so it's like, well, if I'm planning things out 5 years in advance, that's not giving me any room to jump on these random ideas that I have.
I really love that. Because I'm someone who can get a little bit too stuck in my plan. And if it doesn't go the way I want, it's like deeply uncomfortable for me. But my last year, prime example, kind of doesn't matter what you plan. Things are just going to happen how they happen, and you got to go with it. So damn.
And you've been going with it.
I've been going with it.
And look at this. It's crazy.
I know. It is really crazy. Amazing. Okay. So moving on, because I can't believe we just talked about that for as long as we did. How do you decide like what your goals are for the next year? Or are you someone who even does this based on what you just said about like not wanting, you know, like for me, I get real, you know, I love a good like boundary and like a good time to reflect. So for me, New Year's, I sit down, I make plans, set intentions, whatever it be. Do you even do that?
I don't take it as seriously as you probably do, which is not a bad. It's not a bad thing. It's just more because, but I think it's something that's really, really healthy, especially specifically for me to do, because I do need to be more grounded sometimes, and I do need to be able to like sit down and really focus on the things that I can intentionally work on throughout the year. So I feel like maybe for me, these types of goals should be like the more personal, like personal growth ones would be the ones that I would probably pay, like, I guess, put more effort into thinking about, because those are things that, like, regardless of all the events that are happening in my life, like I can still consistently work on, like, let's say, like this last year, you know, like work on being more honest, and or like work on like with myself, and or I can work on being more intentional, like blah blah blah. Like I can work on like specific like moralistic virtues and stuff like that. Yeah. So I think those are the things that I will probably take more seriously. But when I have done this in the past, I've written goals like, oh, like I want to book like $200,000 worth of projects, right? For a certain year. And then like, it's cool to like, obviously see that that was my goal. And then when it gets to the end of it, like there was one year that I booked $250,000. Sorry, this sounds really like obnoxious, but I booked $250,000 worth of projects. And I was like, oh, like I forgot that I made that goal. And like, look, I beat it by 25%.
Okay, I just had this moment where when we sat down to do this, I pulled out my goals from this year. And they made me a little emotional to go through, because a lot of them were like me and Victor's joint goals. So it was rough. Like, it was a little bit of an interesting journey to go down.
For sure.
To look at these again for the first time since I wrote them a year ago. But I did have a financial goal of what I wanted to gross, and I blew it out of the water.
Amazing.
So that was really incredible to read. Like I was just reading through these, and a lot of them kind of made me feel things. But then that one, I was just like, holy shit, I crushed that. Yeah. Like by a lot. So that was cool.
You see, that was the more appropriate way to talk about money.
No, money's not weird.
No,
I
it's not.
So.
You're right. It's not. No, but that's interesting that you said that too, because as you were asking me this question, the first question, and I mentioned how we wanted to be more hospitable. Yeah. I genuinely remember that was like literally written down for us at the end of last year.
I love that.
And I was like, oh, we totally did that. Yes. Like, we did
That's
that.
why it's great to write the shit down, because I forgot a lot of these things that I wrote, and I'm like, wow, I did a lot of these. Even the personal ones, they didn't come to fruition the way I expected. Right. But they came to fruition in a very different and bigger and more beautiful way. Wow. So I'm like, and then looking at them in hindsight, it's almost like, I knew what was going to happen maybe. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, something in me knew like a big personal shift was coming and I didn't understand it. So that was really crazy. So
wow.
Everyone write your goals and intentions down, and it doesn't matter. Hold your goals lightly. Hold them lightly. Don't beat yourself up if they don't come. So I'll give an example. There were a lot of projects that were on my goals and intentions list for 2021 that did not happen because the second half of my year, I went into full survival mode of just processing and moving forward with my separation, and also dealing with the busiest handful of months my business has ever seen.
Yeah.
So like there was no more space left for anything besides bare minimum tasks, and I had to accept that.
Yeah.
Like the projects, and there were multiple that I thought I was going to focus on the second half of this year. None of them happened besides just bare minimum. What do I need to get to my clients this right now? Like, and I just went into bare minimum mode. And it's so funny because in previous episodes and previous months, we've talked about what to do when these seasons come. And I had to practice that.
Yeah.
And I just had to like give myself grace and be like, okay, I had a handful of things I really wanted to make happen this year, but it's fine that they didn't, because my whole life blew up. So like the fact that I just survived and also, you know, produced some of the best work of my career, even if I just did like mediocre work but left my clients happy, like, oh my God, that's fucking enough. It was enough. So I had to go to that place.
Yeah.
So I say all that to say, write your goals. If life happens and they don't happen, that's fine. You'll get them next year. There are things I'm going to pick up next year when I have more energy again. And I'm already starting to get back to more like normal productivity levels. You know, the brain fog is funny. It's like an email that would take me 30 seconds when you're in a brain foggy place would take me 10 minutes. You know, like stuff like that. Like I just had to reassess my productivity, you know, and had to just like, I just have to give myself grace. And so I say all this to say, write your fucking goals down. If they don't happen, that's fine. You'll get them next year. But it's good to reflect on and be like, these were my intentions. Look at everything that happened, even if it's not what I thought. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And even if, like, even from like a less dramatic standpoint, like Cami going through a lot, right?
Cami's full of dramatics this year.
Kept her from maybe doing a couple like of the specific business goals maybe that she had for herself. But also what might keep you from reaching those goals is other unexpected things that like you also are happy that you're doing. Like, for example, like I got really, really into fashion this year. And so like I'm in the beginning stages of some sort of business in the fashion industry. And like, that's not something I planned on doing at the beginning of this year.
Right.
But a lot of my like tasks that I was like also going to work on for photography, they're gone now because I'm passionate about something else that I really figured out. And now I can like reflect and be like, oh, look, I didn't do this, but look at what else I started. Like, look at what else I'm in the beginning stages of. Like, and that was not on my list.
Yeah, that's why set your goals, set your intentions, but hold them lightly.
Totally.
And feel free to pivot as life happens and like energy brings you to new things and like feel free to go with that. Like I didn't expect the personal changes this year, so no, it wasn't as productive, but I got bare minimum done and my clients are happy. Success. That's success to me.
Absolutely.
And I'll pick up next year.
Yes, you will.
Yes,
you will. And new unexpected fun stuff will happen next year too. Good fun stuff.
I was like, oh my God, don't wish that upon me.
Manifest it's the good fun stuff.
Yeah, totally. Well, that brings me really naturally into my last question for us, which was, what are you focusing on next year?
All right.
What are your goals? What are your intentions?
So first off, when it comes to business, definitely dialing back weddings. By like more than half.
Wow, that's amazing. By half, really?
Yeah.
Wow, good for you.
I know, and I'm super happy about it.
And you're gonna stick to it.
Oh yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I've upped my prices a bit, as you know, and I upped them again, and I in a couple months am going to up them pretty drastically.
Yeah.
And all of this to say, like, I do genuinely love weddings. Still, I do. But there are just things that over this last year that I have just really learned are more important to me, and that's having weekends,
Dude.
having not having as many days where I'm literally gone for an entire day or for weekends, right? If I'm out of town. And when I say like gone for an entire day, like the fact of the matter is, even if you're booked for 8 hours at a wedding, like you're going to be gone for at least 12, maybe more. And so like
it's not just an 8 hour
no
day.
I block out those days and I'm just like, sorry, like hun, like you will not see me at all this day. I'm going to wake up, I'm going to shower, get dressed and leave, and then I'll be back at some point.
Yes.
Because I like to invest, really do like to invest in these days and be a part of them. And I want to be able to have that freedom too. So like no back-to-back weddings next year. I think I have 2 back-to-back weddings and that's it.
Yeah.
But that was before I decided I was going to not do that anymore. And so I don't have any back-to-back weddings. So I can totally be there. Like okay, here's a great example. I just booked a wedding at the Ace in April and I was like, oh hun, like we're going to the Ace for 3 days. Like, I'm sorry. Like this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And before, like if I had back-to-back weddings on a weekend, there's no chance I could do that.
Nope.
We're gonna get massages and we are going to eat and drink as much as we want. Which the last time we did that was the week before shutdown for our little baby moon. We went and it was amazing.
Those cute pictures of her in the Ace.
We saw Jason Segel.
Oh yeah, that's right. Love him.
Love that guy. Anyway, so yeah, it'll start with that. And so obviously that also does mean that I'm kind of like transitioning into other things. And so I have the studio, I have the podcast. I'm still going to do photography. I want to focus a lot more on fashion and brands and stuff like that. Honestly, more fashion. I am interested in brands a little bit. But I want to shoot like and do creative direction and honestly like create for magazines and be kind of like iconic and
be iconic
be iconic and like honestly inspirational in that area because I just, you know, I have fun ideas and I'm experimental and I like to have fun and I just don't really care.
I think my favorite thing you've ever said on this podcast is I just want to be iconic.
I do.
You are
genuinely.
Though. You are. You're a fucking icon.
Thank you. Well, I'm already halfway there then. I don't know, just kind of slipped out.
No, that was good. And I wasn't going to let you gloss over it. You said it kind of quiet and fast.
I did say it very nonchalant.
Like, oh, we're going to go back to
that. And then 2, my latest thing is I want to start a fashion line. And so I won't get too much into detail just because I don't like saying things until it's actually happening. And I definitely have started, like it is in the works.
But you don't say anything without doing it though.
That's true. The reality is it will happen, but I also, you know, I just don't want to be that person.
Totally get it.
So yeah, right now how I'm starting out with it, and I'm partnering up with a friend of mine. Shout out Blake Nelson.
Friend of the pod.
And we are just going to kind of start off by doing vintage resale and just to kind of like learn about the industry more because I understand aesthetic and fashion and stuff like that as visually, but I don't know anything about it historically or like technically and stuff like that, you know? So I really want to get into it. Like I have with like photography, right? It didn't take me very long.
You'll figure it out.
Yeah, I will. And like I could like photos, editing, it's like the back of my hand. Like I literally, it's so second nature at this point.
Yep.
So I know I will get there too. But I'm going to have, my mother-in-law's going to teach me how to sew because I want to learn how all that works. Cool. And then we'll just kind of go from there. Cool. But there's a lot to get into this because I'm very passionate about ethics and stuff like that when it comes to fashion. And so I'm like
sustainable fashion
and like nothing will be made outside of the US and you know I will be able to visit the people that are making things or whatever. That's, you know, I have so many things that are important to me, but it's all just so new, you know. So I'm really excited to learn more about fashion in the clothing industry next year. So that's number one business thing. And then, I don't know. I haven't thought too much personally. I don't know.
Great. That's fine.
I will.
That's a huge goal.
We can follow up.
We'll follow up.
Yeah. Maybe I'll follow up in like Instagram stories when I have them and I'll be like, here's Gabe's goals.
Yeah. Oh,
for 2022.
Love that. So you're raising your prices, you're taking less weddings, you're expanding the Gabe empire into new and exciting business things.
Be an icon.
Primary goal, be an icon.
Primary goal, be an icon, yes.
I love that.
I also probably will get more into music and stuff next year too.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm very much like I think music is like the most vulnerable thing. It's to me, it's like one of the only things that I'm like a little insecure about, which is funny because it's the thing I've been doing longer than anything.
So interesting.
It is. Yeah, I know. And a lot of it, I used to convince myself that I'm like not a natural writer, but what I think it is that I'm just so much of a perfectionist that everything that I write just isn't good enough. So I'm going to challenge myself next year to do just like how I challenge myself with photo, and like that I'm not going to allow myself to be a perfectionist, because you can't be successful if you're a perfectionist. There's only a certain extent you can get to. So I'm just gonna make that happen. It out there. Dude, yeah. I on my flight home from Cabo, a couple weeks ago, I literally, I mean, obviously I'll go through it again, but I wrote out the lyrics for at least like 2 to 3 songs, like in like just sitting there. I was like so inspired, and I was like, I'm just gonna write it, and that's gonna be okay. And even if it's not perfect, I'm not gonna delete this.
Perfect.
like
good.
I normally do.
Good.
So yeah, I'm really excited
about
that too.
Oh, that's so good.
This was my long one. Your turn now.
Yeah, my next year, what am I most looking forward to? So for 2022, which is crazy, I cut my year off at 35 weddings. And I'm saying this out loud. I'm not booking anymore.
You did just post that you were fully booked too.
I know. But I do that on purpose.
Good.
Because it's accountability.
Yeah.
Like if I post that, lame of me to go back on it, you know? So I do that for myself. And it just makes me easier to keep saying no if I feel like I've said something. So yeah, I feel like 2022 is my opportunity to kind of like reclaim what I had accomplished in 2020, which I don't even know if we have talked about this on the podcast. I can't remember, but like 2020 was my year where I planned for the first time after years of burnout, after years of shooting like 50 weddings a year. 2020 was my fucking year that I booked 30 to 35 weddings perfectly evenly spaced out all year. And I was like, I'm finally going to have my dream wedding season. And then you don't need me to tell you what 2020 looked like. And then they all got pushed to this year. And then I had another burnout year this year. So a lot of like my anger with this year's burnout was like, oh my God, I finally booked my perfect wedding season for myself, and I finally found the strength to set boundaries, and look what happens. I end up with another burnout year anyways. And so I'm really committed to choosing myself in that, in knowing that like I don't need more money next year, I need more time. And so that was another highlight of this year, was like I learned how to choose myself for the first time ever. Like really like, man, how can I choose myself? Even in this busyness, how can I still choose myself? Because I'm like worth it. So continuing to do that is something I'm really looking forward to implementing in like really big new ways, which is really cool. So yeah, I'm not booking any more weddings for next year. If you're listening and you want me to shoot your wedding, I won't do it unless it's in 2023.
She won't do it.
I won't do it. And I'm already getting better at saying no to shooting weddings on like important days to me. Like I got an inquiry on my birthday for 2023 and I said no, which is huge for me. And then I'm so glad I stuck to that, because then the next week I got an inquiry for my birthday weekend in Cabo and they booked me. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to Cabo on my birthday weekend now. Like, I'm so glad I said no to the thing that wasn't a hell yes, and allowed myself to like open myself up for a hell yes. So anyways.
That's next year?
That's 2023.
Oh, okay.
So, but I'm just saying, learning ways to choose myself.
Yes.
So no more weddings. Not forever. No, I just mean no, I'm not booking anymore. I'm not saying this isn't Cammy's statement that I'm done with weddings. Not at all. This is my career.
You caught yourself so quick.
I know. I was like, no, I didn't mean it. That's not what I meant. I'm doing Jai Long's business, 6-figure business map.
Nice.
So I'm doing some business coaching, which I think after the last year of burnout, and also I feel like every few years, I just need a little bit of like a kick in the butt to like get me to the next level.
Yeah.
And so I've been like coasting the last few years, I feel like I've gotten as far as I can on my own. And so I'm excited for like another kind of just like round of inspiration. So I'm doing some business coaching. I'm excited about that. And I'm committed to finishing the projects that I set out to finish this year. So like giving myself grace, because some things took a more pressing matter, but they're going to happen next year. So kind of some like, you know, what do they call that? Like passive income streams, like finally finishing that course I've been talking about for a million years. I like want to get on some like stock photography sites, kind of like dabble into some of that. So just some stuff like that. So I have some projects there.
Awesome.
Yeah. I don't have really clear goals yet beyond that.
Okay. That's okay.
It's the beginning of December.
It's the beginning of the month.
When we're recording this.
Yeah.
Maybe by the end of the month I'll have clearer goals. I think I'm just like mostly in a reflective place of I'm like, oh my God, we made it.
Yeah. We did.
Fine.
No, that is a great point. I actually have been thinking about that too. I'm like, oh my God, like we made it to December of 2021.
I have one wedding left of the year. This Saturday is my last. And then I'm going home this year for 2 whole weeks,
Amazing.
which I've never done before. I usually just like go in and go out.
It's amazing.
So I'm like gonna have an extended rest where I'm just gonna like catch up from galleries, you know, from the comfort of home. And by home, Seattle. You guys, I'm not from here. I'm leaving San Diego for just 2 whole weeks for Christmas, and Gabe's cracking up.
I got in here today and it's gloomy in San Diego today. I'm like looking out her window and I was like, wow, this is actually downtown in like the gloom is nice and cozy. And Cammie's like, no, I hate it.
It reminds me of Seattle, honestly. But anyways, goals to just keep choosing myself, to keep allowing myself to like have fun and prioritize myself and relationships outside of busyness, to like not need more money and trust I don't need more money. So to like not book more than I need to.
Yeah, that's a great way to say it.
That's huge. To not book doubles because I'm not my best Cammie when I'm shooting back to backs. Like I want my couples to get my best energy.
Yeah.
And that happens when I only have one of them in a weekend. It does. So I think I also only have 2. That's manageable.
Totally manageable.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just kind of starting my whole life over, you know? So it's hard to like set goals right now because actually, beautiful point, business goals don't seem super important right now. And I actually like that. Like that they're not quite on my mind. Like I'm just like, whew, I made it. I did it. I'm here. Yeah. I'm doing great. I just want to keep taking care of myself and the business is good. And it will continue to be good.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it will.
So anything else you want to add about New Year's feelings or thoughts?
No, I don't think so. Not off the top of my head.
Well, these kinds of conversations are my shit.
Yeah, they are.
You know this. And I encourage all of you guys listening to have these conversations too. Write them down. They're so fun to reflect on. I have all my pieces of paper saved with my goals from the last 10 years. And I save them and I put them in the back of my planner. Yeah, I'm real sentimental like that. Yeah, Cammie's a big feeler, you guys. I'm a real big sentimental gal. So I look at them year after year and reflect on how far I've come. So just start. It's really fun. And I always rip that page out of my journal, put them in the back of my planner. If you have a partner, this is really fun to do with them because it's just like a fun opportunity to talk about like what you loved and what you hope to be different. So it's really cool.
And I used to think it was really daunting, but the reality is it's not like we like are looking at them throughout the entire year.
I never pull them out.
It's literally just reflective once you're at the end.
Yep.
Because you know what you want. You know, you know what you want to work on. And so, yeah, I think it's just been like we've been doing it pretty much every year as well. And we don't look at it until the end of the year. I had mine on my notes app and I like looked at it right before coming here too. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And it just like feels good to like look back and
it really does.
Yeah. Even if not everything is, you know, accomplished at all or nothing.
Yeah, like hold them lightly.
Yeah,
for sure. Because like allow life to happen, but it's so fun to look back and reflect and just give yourself like a general direction. And then I got a big whiteboard for my office. And so I've started writing the big projects I want to keep in mind on that whiteboard. So I read them every day.
Amazing.
So like the big projects that I want to like not lose sight on.
Yeah.
Number 1 was podcast with Gabe, and that happened. So
and yeah, that happened.
Just
in full
numbers
force.
2 through 5 will happen this year. But that one happened, and that was a big project to start. In addition to the busiest year of our business.
You're right.
So it was a solid commitment.
And we thought it was not going to be the busiest year of our business too.
I know.
Dear Lord.
Well, anyways, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
If you're listening and want to drop into our DMs and talk to me about your goals and plans,
please do.
You just send us a little voice memo or something and Cammie will respond to you.
And if you want to give us a little Christmas present, you can just go onto the Apple Podcast app and write us a 5-star review.
Only 5 stars.
Literally, yeah. Anything less, I mean, I'm not going to say what we'll do, but it will not be pretty. No. Anyway.
Certainly not. But happy holidays.
Yes.
Happy New Year. We'll see ya in a few weeks with a new year.
Yes. And some new exciting guests.
Yes.
Peace out.
Goodbye for now.